turn
hitting
it
it
down?
now.
I think it's
Guys,
still
I
on.
have
We have
like
new
10
ones.
buttons to touch.
The original motion was with the intent to
On and
return.
off.
Yes,
Gotcha, Phil.
okay,
Is this thing on?
yeah,
Make sure everybody's still on.
okay.
Hello, hello?
Okay.
Nobody wants to hear me anyway.
Huh?
Nobody wants to hear me anyway.
What's that?
Might be a
Nobody
new,
hears us.
might have to come out of that one, go into a new one.
I
Joe?
refreshed it.
I didn't want to prolong this thing. I'm so afraid. Oh, that's why he's gonna fuck it up. So you knew.
No, I think it's fair. I mean, the chief would be here. I think it's fair. He doesn't
Yeah, I would-
retire until the 25th. We can decide that night.
It sounds like you guys did a lot of work.
Camera?
Research anyway.
Yeah.
I did.
The light is on.
Yeah, red lights on.
I'm good.
Supposed to be green.
No, right.
Yeah, I think it's usually red.
Yeah, it's working.
Yeah, no, but it's.
Right,
I'm not perfectly fine.
I'm out of that one now. I'm going
It's a shame that little box.
We good to go?
No.
Oh, was it really?
You're good.
They don't have it on live yet.
Really?
No coins?
Because usually on the back page, it always comes up live, and even if I go to videos.
Yeah. Oh, what do you think?
It's streaming.
All right, we can go.
Do we have an audience?
I don't see it. Yeah, you have an audience. I'll let everybody.
Good evening, everybody, again.
Okay, like, you can let the people in.
Refreshing.
Is there a lot of people?
No, Bill, Troy, Sean,
Bill, good.
Bob.
Bill.
Hello, man.
Christine.
Oh, good to see you.
Thank you.
He's
telling stories. You want to?
I just need a motion to open the regular report.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good evening, everybody. All right.
Was that no?
No, we did the pledge.
I don't know if we can do it again for the
Yeah, we could.
board meeting.
All right, item number 4, update on solution demolition. Sean, the floor is yours.
I don't know what I missed. There was an officer here, so I'm glad.
That's not
Wow.
for you, but we got it
Wow.
solved.
Work session got a little crazy.
Yes.
I gave you a written update
Yeah.
last night.
Mhm.
It came a little late because I was trying to delay this information from the contractor as well as from the press. So I'm just gonna go through it in order if that's all right with you. So site security, I went out to the site the other day. They have the temporary fencing up. They have some construction fencing up adjacent to the library. If anybody notices anything, please let me know. Please let the contractor know. Obviously, it's next to the park, next to the library, we don't want any issues with any children or anything like that. I was on site yesterday. I noticed the gap in the fence. I let the contractor know, so you can take care of it today. So, demolition schedule, I gave you a copy of the contractor schedule. As of now, he's on schedule. Asbestos monitoring and maintenance. So under New York State law, you're required to have third-party laboratory. You had done the same thing on the house on Larchwood when that was demolished 2 years ago. Quest actually did that service, and that's actually part of the reason we started working with them on this project. So they've given you a proposal right now. Try to answer any questions you may have on that proposal.
Well, it's in the report, your report.
The proposal is in your packet from Quest a little bit further down.
Oh, yeah, I see that, but what I was referring to now, it's appropriate, was your letter to us about solution. It's like 3 pages long.
Yeah.
4 pages. So on the first page, it talks about some people, I think, want to retrieve things from the building. And, they would collect it, bring it outside. And if that is going to happen with desks or some people said something about marble, there's maybe some things in there that are, that are significant. But the thing is where are we going to put that stuff?
That's one of the questions I have.
Oh, so you're gonna,
For
you're gonna
us.
answer that. Okay.
We were the some people.
Right, we did.
Some people,
Right.
so some people, you know, like.
But not only that, but just a little bit of history. With the other structure that was on there, we took a whole bunch of stuff out there and we put it in trucks out by the DPW.
Right.
And guess what happened? It stayed there and stayed there and the stuff rotted away and we wound up throwing it all out. So that's my 2 cents.
Let me just go back and then I'll come back to what you mentioned, George. So you have price proposal. So if you're interested in contracting with West, I would ask that you take action on that this evening and let me know tomorrow if it's going to be an action item later.
Right.
So George, jumping into your items, I'm just going to introduce it in a broader sense. So the contractor now has gotten involved, he's been on site, been in the building. He had submitted earlier this week, I think it was Tuesday, a list of potential project scope changes. You know, this isn't a change order per se, but they could result in change orders. So part of the reason for me being here tonight is to review those items with you. One of the items is what you said, retrieval of some furnishings, and to see what you want to do on these items. So these are 4A through E on my list. So if you don't mind, I'm going to jump in, which is the first one, which is George's. That's furnishings. And summarized it correctly. The contractors inside, you notice some intact furnishings that the town may want. Frankly, he's entitled to it under the provisions of the contract. He's entitled to salvage. He can salvage anything, but he recognizes that these may have some historic value to the town, so he's offering to retrieve them for you at no cost. You spoke with Quest. You can do this. You have to decontaminate it. It's up to you whether A, you want to do it, and if you do, what do we do with it after we get it outside? We get it decontaminated.
Or even make it available to the library, to the town, to whoever.
We can
If
ask
somebody
Bill.
wants it, then they.
My goal was to put together along with the whatever we find inside the box, a nice layout, hopefully at the library. There's some really nice things there. That old desk dates back to the early 1900s. It's going to come out of there. They're both desks going to go up to authentic antique lumber. They'll get resurfaced, redone, and then brought back to wherever we end up. If it is the library, we end up in the library, whether it's the town hall. The 2 pieces of marble that they've already looked at them, they'll get them decontaminated. They're just 2 beautiful pieces of marble enclosed in wood that were around the altar of the church. I thought it was significant. I thought it would be nice in the area that we build out. And that's all we were looking at. And a piece of stained glass. I think out of all the pieces of stained glass there was 1 window that was not broken that they were able to salvage. That was all I was looking to do. Whether we end up using it for display or not, we can decide later. But we're not talking about tractor trailer loads of stuff. I never talked about the pews or the radiators or anything else.
I just want
Yeah,
clear
no.
direction, and I worked on projects where we've recovered furnishings. The contractor's really not interested in it, obviously, he's interested in getting the work done. It gets put off to the side, and then it's been weathered because the municipality just failed to have a plan. So I just looking to you for a plan as to how you want the contractor to hand this off. Do you want the DPW to pick it up? Do you want somebody else, another contractor like Antique Lumber to pick it up?
We will take it. I'll put it in the back of the back of a trailer and drop it all 4 pieces off at authentic antique lumber for them to resurface for us.
So I will tell the contractor, we'll take him up on this offer. It's no cost change.
Yep.
And I will tell him as soon as it's decontaminated to let us know. So that we can.
We'll put them right onto a trailer and we'll remove them from the property.
Very good.
So also in the chapel, I think Joe just said that there's one is still intact. But in looking at, in fact, I was there a couple of days ago, it seemed like there was, they weren't intact completely, but there was a number of stained glass still in the windows. And I don't know whether or not that's salvageable or not, but I would think that there's some value to the ones that are, they're not totally broken. There's parts that are knocked out, but then there's other parts that are still intact.
The problem that we have is all of the glue, all of the what do you call it, around the window, caulking is all asbestos. So they have to go beyond decontaminating where they can spray them. They got to break them down. They got to get it.
Yeah.
So they were going to do that with the one window for us, get it all done, get it scraped down and get it tested. But I mean, when you look at it, it's not that beautiful stained glass you see in a cathedral or a church with all different colors. And this is just stained glass, you know,
Right,
clear
it's like
stained
one
glass.
one color.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's really probably not worth that.
Yeah, I don't think there's any
If it has
value
to
in the
be
stained glass.
So I got the desks, marble, the stained glass. Is there anything other than that?
They were gonna, in the chapel itself, there was some maple on the wall that I thought if we could take maybe 6 or 8 feet of it, it would be a nice backdrop to the display area. They were gonna look at that and make sure that it can come off the wall. They were gonna make sure that it was coated, so they knew, it was
Yeah.
sealed, so they knew there was no
No
asbestos
asbestos, yeah.
on it.
That's the wainscoting.
Yeah, so maple wainscoting on the
Yeah.
wall.
Okay. Very
There was a section about, I don't know, 2, 3 feet long on the wall that they would take out. It would make for a nice backdrop to the demo area.
Let the contractor know, and
Yep.
as soon as it's ready, we'll let you know. So you can report.
I mentioned that thing with the trailer, George, to everybody, everything at the cave.
I don't
And
know
we
if
painted.
it's worth anything, but the two doors, the two wooden doors that go in, like you walk through the entrance and there's two giant, maybe 9-foot solid oak doors or solid, I don't know what they are, what kind of wood they are, but they're beautiful and they're really heavy. I mean, I don't know if they have really nice hinges on them and stuff. I don't know if they're worth anything or if there's something we could do with them, but
The
they're,
contractor's entitled to take. them.
yeah, they're gorgeous. I mean,
Yeah,
they're really
he
nice.
wants to go through the trouble of decontaminating it in there,
Yes, and he has to decontaminate it.
Yeah.
but if the town wants it, we can always ask them. But he does.
I don't know really what we do with them, but they're
Yeah.
beautiful.
The other two items that were listed in the letter were the radiators, which I get is, and the church pews. I guess we don't want those.
Well, they're not full pews. They're just the
They're all
kneeling
broken
portion
down.
of it. That's
No.
it.
Oh, good. Yeah, yeah.
The pews are gone. It's just the kneeling legs.
Tell you what, if we still have a little bit of time, you
Go
can
ahead.
consider the doors, if you change, I'll tell them these 4 items. and
Yeah.
the doors you
Yeah, I
want
don't
to
know. Like I said, they're big. I don't know what we could do with them.
It is a beautiful door.
Yeah.
The next item is a stone pile. Anybody that's parked in the back there, you've seen this pile, it's been there for a while. During bidding, I had gotten a question from contractors whether that was contaminated. Just so there's parity amongst the bidders, we had said it should be considered contaminated.
Right.
We've now gotten inside, they've started to remove a little bit. Quest has been out there, and Quest doesn't see any building materials in the stone.
Right.
They're of the opinion that it is not contaminated, and it can be treated like regular, C&D, or if you want to reuse it.
And they were gonna do something with it. They're
Well,
talking
that's
about-
where we get into a discussion.
Okay,
They
yeah,
wanted
go ahead.
to, and they could absolutely use it on the temporary access road, where
Right.
that's as a restoration. My understanding is that you wanted that temporary access road removed.
Yeah.
Grassed, and you may decide to plant trees in there sometime in the future. If we put the stones in there now, it would preclude that. in the
Yeah,
future.
no. Right, no, we're not gonna put that up. Temporary. The temporary road is just temporary.
I don't know why you would have another entrance there. I mean,
Right,
you
we
know,
have to go through the fence and.
I don't know
On
either.
on the Grateful Road.
In all frankness, the contractor originally in his bid should have included to take that pile out and consider it asbestos containing material. If he now has to take it out and even dispose of it, can't use it anywhere else, he's gonna be ahead of the game because of the reduction in the cost of disposal.
Yeah.
So we were talking
Guess I
about
get rid of it.
possibly using some of that in the foundation on the inside.
Not this, we'll get there in a second.
Right, but could this be used for that?
I could ask him.
No, I don't care. I mean, it's up to him.
Next.
He bid it out, taking it away. So
This did.
if there's a savings cost to the town, he can use it.
Yeah, I think there's the ability to take that and crush it down to 3/4 stone. They bring it over to wherever the brick is and bring it back as 3/4 stone and put it in.
But, you know, I mean, that's just for him.
Yeah, it can't
Now,
be put in there
Did
as
we
is.
talk to the village,
That
It's
Joe?
too big.
Big boulders,
Yeah, it's
no.
too big.
Joe, did we talk to the village at all?
The mayor's fine with it and the building inspector is fine with it. Yep. We spoke to both of them.
Okay, we're good.
Now the big item, that's what you
Yeah.
start talking about. So the exterior brick.
Right,
Again, originally, the entire building was going to be completed with asbestos containing material.
Yep.
The contractor asked if he could strip brick from the exterior. He's done some exploratory probes. There's 3 levels of brick. He spoke with Quest. Quest was okay with it, not around the windows because of the caulk. Caulk has asbestos containing material. Quest went out to do some additional probes.
Right.
Because in 2012, they had found some asbestos containing waterproofing behind portions of the brick. While they were out there doing that, they determined that the waterproofing is concentrated in areas outside of the windows. However, they are very concerned that any removal of brick with an excavator would actually cause the caulking to fall and become detached and contaminate the brick on the ground. it's a good idea, but I just don't think it's feasible. Quest recommends that you
Right.
just consider the brick as asbestos contained material at this point.
Right.
Because the likelihood of contamination. is there.
I think it's extremely hard to separate that if you're tearing it out with a machine.
Oh, well, I think you can saw cut around the window of the brick and definitely get that brick out of there without being, the tonnage on that and the cost on that, is tremendous to the town.
No, I understand, but what,
They're taking a position of liability. I fully understand that. They don't want to be liable for anything.
no, I think and I went out to the site yesterday and looked at the windows and see the conditions. The condition is very poor. around the
Yeah.
windows.
And the
And there
doors.
are instances where the caulk is essentially just hanging there. And the manner in which the contractor proposed to remove the brick was to take a bucket and to scrape the brick off. It's very violent. It's likely that caulk would fall to the ground. If you have any brick that's there, when the caulk falls,
It's in the
it's
ground.
contaminated.
Yeah.
And now you
But
have
could you
to-
do what Joe was just saying,
He
saw around it?
He
and
may be
then-
able to do that, but he hasn't proposed that at this
Okay.
time.
There's so
Frankly,
many
though,
windows and so
would
many
have-
doors.
You'd have to bring in a lift or something like that,
Okay.
and you'd have to work around it. And I don't know if he's willing to put in the extra
No,
time. to do
they
that.
would have to wear asbestos suits and do all of that stuff because of the caulking and stuff like that. And it was bid in. The
I
job
know
was
it's
bid
bid,
as
yeah.
part
No,
of
they're
that.
trying to reduce the
Again,
cost.
we had this
I know,
discussion.
yeah.
I could care less about the cost. We've already approved it.
Yeah.
What I care about is the long-term effect of this going into the ground and the liability to this town and our children and our grandchildren over the next 100 years.
Right.
So
We're talking.
I'm trying to get as much out of the ground as I possibly can. That's
Yeah.
not rated as asbestos, but,
Yeah.
if they feel they can't get it done, the money's already spent.
No, I understand that, understand the approach. It's a good approach, and I understand you're disappointed by this.
Yeah.
But, you have your expert quest. They've indicated they don't think that the contractor, based on the way he wants to do it, can do it. I could revisit it with the contractor, ask him if he'd be willing to saw cut around the windows and do something else. I haven't had a chance to talk to him today about this. I just sort of requested yesterday evening.
We bid out the worst scenario, and that's what's happening, and that's okay, because we did bid it out. We made provisions for that. It's not something that's a surprise to us. It's something that we thought we could recoup. If we can't recoup it, we still bid it out as part of the job.
Sean, I got a question. There's a cellar in this building,
Yeah.
and the cellar is, I don't know if it extends to the whole building, but I know it's on the left-hand side. I remember being down there. Is it the intent that the foundation completely around there, the cellar, is all of that is coming out? Or is that foundation staying there and it's going to be covered over?
You like to jump ahead, George.
Yeah, I said, we're gonna
it's
go
in
to
here?
that. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well,
No,
You got it.
He is
Yellow. He
foundation
knows.
walls.
Come on, George, you got it marked in yellow down there.
I must have read
He
that.
knows.
He already got good questions.
That's George's way of telling me to speed it up.
Let's go, Sean.
So, yes.
He wants to see the puck drop in
That's
10
right.
minutes. I don't
Yeah.
think that's possible.
So the contract included demolition, removal of those foundation walls. I know the basement does not extend the entire footprint of the building. There's some crawl space areas on the outside wings. In the area of the basement, the walls go from 10 to 12 feet in depth and height. And we had called for the removal all the way down to the bottom slab. So the entire vertical wall would be removed. The reason we had done that, we didn't know if the town had any long-term plans in that spot. And I don't know if there's any plans to subsurface work, subsurface drainage, any recreation fields, any buildings. If you do not, or if you can tolerate only removing a portion, the contractor suggested that you would only remove the top 2 feet, or I'm sorry, 2 feet below grade.
Right.
So obviously, if you're planning a building there in the future, 2 feet below grade, you could run into the future foundation. But if there's nothing planned at this time, you have no inclination to do anything in this footprint, you could do that, and we would ask the contractor for what that cost savings would be.
And it would be a cost savings.
Not
There
much.
absolutely would be.
That's what he said.
Not much.
Not much.
Not much of a cost savings. I say get the foundation out,
Okay.
get it all out, get everything
No
done,
cost
crack the
savings.
foundation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Why take a chance?
Yep. We're gonna run into it later if we leave it.
Well, that's always the way. If you don't have a plan and you lead it, then you run into it.
So teach him how to shut it off. He doesn't get to shut it off. Mary, shut his phone off for him.
You won't be able to turn it on. Leave him alone.
So getting back to the foundation, the reason why I was bringing that up prematurely was, can't that rock pile be used to
I'm
fill,
gonna ask them.
to fill in that pile?
Whether you
Not
remove-
not at that size, it can't.
No, whether it be crushed,
It's gotta be much smaller.
whether you remove the wall or you don't remove the wall, there's still that volume, right? If you think about it, you just, you take the whole above grade portion of the building away, you're still gonna have a basement that you need to build in.
Right.
So if you're taking it out, you're gonna need a little bit extra material because as you take it out, there's gonna be some earth that goes back.
Mhm.
But, just remove it and you'll be uninhibited in the future for any development in there. And again, development can be a recreational field or something.
Sure. I agree with Joe, just get it.
Yeah, get it the hell out of there. Yeah.
So they will leave this floor slab, it's 12 feet below ground and break that up, so water can pass through that.
Correct.
and
Yeah.
That's all.
Yep.
That's all I have for you, unless you have any questions.
That was 3 pages worth of small typewritten.
That was actually 2.
Yeah. Well, George skipped that. It's,
We highlighted the other half.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sean.
Maybe you guys should
Appreciate
read
it.
the part that's
Thank you,
not
sir.
highlighted. That's how much you highlights.
Just, Mary, if you let me know about the West, so I can tell them to go ahead.
Yep.
Good night,
Okay.
everybody.
Okay, good night,
Okay,
David. Thank you.
Sean. Item number 5, review and approve a board resolution to secure a 5-year bond anticipation note of $1.5 million for the demolition of the town-owned Solution building. Discussion?
I'll just note that, I mean, we had some updates via email by way of Christine, which was very helpful. And I tried to answer anybody's questions. I know Phil and I had a conversation just to clear up anything. So Phil, I think I kind of tossed it to you just to make sure, because there was some clarification issues from the last one, but
Yeah,
Seemed to be-
it showed specifically that we were gonna do a bond anticipation note for 5 years, even though we passed a bond resolution. In that resolution was the bond anticipation note.
Right.
Stated a couple of times. Mike, I will ask you one question. We're gonna go for the 150,000.
1.5
1,500,000, yes.
There you go, that's close
That's-
enough. I guess I missed one.
wishful
zero.
thinking, but
But, so anyway, we can only borrow $1 million, we're going to borrow $1 million. Is that the way I understand it?
Well, that's what I was suggesting, just because there was some possibility that the cost would be coming in a lot less than the $1.5 million.
Possible.
And being that we have a lot of extra fund balance in the A fund, we can easily make it up.
Well, it doesn't
does
look,
come in over.
So there's no reduction coming.
right, so the question is, there's no reduction coming, do we still want to make it clean and just borrow the 1.5 or 1.4? And can we up the borrowing in the middle? In other words, can we borrow $1 million and we see fund days, something else is going on, we want to do more, can we
You can
do?
borrow for a different project. That's
Ah,
another-
okay, no,
I think the
We're good.
original idea, my recollection was, we went above the project price in
Yes,
case it went up. That was 1. 2, we were gonna borrow all of it with the idea that we could pay it back with the fund if we were, and beat
Right.
the clock.
that's right.
So it's still, I mean, less, again, it's probably not gonna come down in price, so it seems like,
Right, there
We
might
just
be
stay on
other
track.
contingencies, so my recommendation is and I think we made the resolution. already.
Yep.
Yeah.
We did.
we were just holding off on making sure that we were good with
With the bond
the,
anticipation.
yes,
Okay,
but it's gotta be, I mean, absent something, it's gotta be voted on tonight.
good.
Based on the time frame, because we gotta pay out.
Can I make the motion? You ready for the motion?
Anybody,
Really
anything else, any other discussion?
No, so
Confused now. Are we borrowing $1.5 million
Yeah,
Yes.
or $1 million?
we're authorizing $1.5 million, and I think we're ultimately
I'm
gonna
changing
borrow.
Borrow the 1.5, and we're initially taking $1 million.
Right, and that's all in this,
Yep.
that's all in this resolution.
Correct. Yes.
Hold on, to be clear, that,
No.
the document that you guys have
Yes.
only shows $1 million in there.
Correct. We have to change that to
That's
1.5
gonna
million.
be, so if you're voting on it, with the anticipated change by Mary will be putting in there that is 1.5. Go
Correct.
back to the
Yep.
original. Okay, sorry, you guys were, I was
No,
getting the
that's-
question while you guys
So
were doing.
That's what we talked.
we are actually borrowing $1.5 million.
Yes,
Correct.
as originally
Page-
resolved,
That is the first page, for the bond resolution. Okay, so that goes to 1.5.
which was the original plan. You guys already have a resolution on it, so we're
Okay.
just,
And bond
And
anticipation.
I know no one really knows this answer, but Christine, you might have some kind of an idea. Do you have any idea of what the rate is going to be?
The one that we just renewed in April, I think was 2.13%.
Mhm.
That was for the Arcadia water tank.
It's gonna be higher.
It's gonna go up.
Oh, yeah, it's higher now because of interest rates, right?
And that's why we should borrow the whole $1.5 million. I think the rate's gonna go up, obviously, and that's why we should probably grab the whole $1.5 million. Initially,
Lots.
you know, and lock
And what
that
we,
in.
what we can do is we can set the maturity to coincide with the other band, so we can both combine. the two.
Combine them.
Like the
Perfect.
rates on the
Yep.
larger
That makes sense.
Perfect.
All right,
So I make the resolution that we accept, or I accept the bond resolution for $1.5 million with the understanding that this will be a bond anticipation note that we take.
second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Just want to amend
You
one
need roll
thing.
call?
You said-
Yeah, I was gonna
It's a
ask
roll
that, yeah.
call
Yeah,
for
roll
the
call.
resolution.
And real quick, it was, you said you're gonna make a resolution.
Make the
Can you
resolution.
rephrase it?
Make
That
an
we accept
approval.
the resolution.
Yeah. Thank you.
Accept the resolution. as-
I need a roll call. It's a resolution.
Okay.
Phil,
Aye.
George,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye,
Rick.
Aye.
Doug.
Aye.
Good. Perfect.
Money in the bank.
You got the box.
review and approve the creation of a new fund, HSE Solution Demolition Capital Project, to open a new bank account for the same. I mean, it's a temporary thing, right? It's gonna open and close within 30 days. You'll- Will you carry a balance in there? You're gonna take,
And if there's any balance left over, we would keep it until the bond matures and then, you know,
Okay.
pay down from that account.
okay, very good.
Okay, good. But you want, it has to be kept as a separate bank account?
Yes, it should be.
That's a good idea. It's really clean.
So wanna make a motion?
You know,
Yeah.
I'll make the motion to.
Second,
Set up another account.
Second. Second.
all in favor?
You need a roll
Aye.
call? Oh, we're good.
No, you don't need a roll call.
Then I'll be aye.
Aye.
Okay, so review and approve the contract from Quest to provide the asbestos abatement management and monitoring service for the demolition of Solution Building. Let's see, I couldn't find that.
I reviewed.
Let me get a copy.
Yeah, it's in the
Yeah,
PDF.
17,000 for the whole project.
It has Quest like written
17,000,
all over it.
232.
232.
4 pages.
So,
You probably have
Got
to
it.
make a copy
yeah,
of this.
17,000.
Any discussion, any questions on it?
I make a motion that we accept the contract submitted by Quest for the solution.
Bail and dug out.
For the demolition.
Gotcha, back, Doug.
The asbestos abatement management program.
Thank you. For
Service.
the amount of $17,232.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Second, Phil first.
Very good.
Approve the permit application for Grandma's Attic Fund to hold an auction on 15 Maple Avenue on August 6th, 2022, between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Only apply to you, Mary, correct?
Right, but it needs board approval, because
Right.
it's 500 to 800 people there.
Now, is this a property
for
that's being
special
sold
permit.
there, or is it
No.
just a real auction?
Yeah.
where
A
they're
real
putting stuff
auction
in?
where they're,
So it's
no,
2 to
the
400
on the farms.
That's what I mean.
2 to
It's being-
400.
They're doing,
Share for Mary.
Yeah.
2 to 400 people.
400.
Yeah.
That's what it says on the
There's no vote on
application.
it. It's in there. And I had an opportunity to review the permit.
The insurance good?
Yeah, I mean, assuming everything is represented on there is as represented, there's no issue.
So we need the police to be.
They will be there,
It does require that.
but I need permission from you first before it goes any further.
They have all the requisite things you would want there. They have parking, there appears to be ample parking. They have porta potties. There's no live music. There's no,
Right.
I don't believe there's any food. So it's a pretty
They checked all the boxes.
pretty bare bones event for that large of an event.
The insurance is invalid.
Where does it say the insurance is invalid?
It ended. It expired on 1/18/2022.
When was this submitted? I thought this was, hold on a second, George.
I have it going through 5/31/20. Well, it was applied for on
Why?
5/31/22.
But if you look
Right.
down, you look
Yeah,
down
I
at
see
the
that.
policy, the policy expired on January 18th. So they need to update that.
Yeah.
Get updated.
We can approve it with.
We can
Prove that they get it. right?
Well, it's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's their commercial liability insurance.
I'm not
that's all.
I'm not gonna issue a permit till
Yeah, yeah.
it's all
Right.
up to date. and-
Right.
And so the only other question I had is, I saw the schematic there from Google Earth. And is this all basically like grasslands? Where
It's a
these-
farm over by police station.
Where these cars are gonna be parked?
Yeah.
Yep, so they're gonna drive off that road all over that parking area in the back.
Off Maple Avenue and onto the grass.
Right. Well, hopefully it's dry.
Hopefully it doesn't rain.
Yeah.
That's what they have. tow
They're
trucks.
gonna
Yeah.
require any traffic control from the police?
Yeah,
There's quite a
yeah,
few cars.
yeah. I have an application for PD too. Once you guys approve it, I submit it to PD and then they decide how many guys they need to put there.
Okay,
The
good.
good thing is it's right next to the police department.
Yeah, but there's only 3 people there normally. They need more than that.
So we'll probably have to
Yeah, have to hire.
They'll put somebody on the.
All right, so I could have a motion to accept the application or permit
Conditioned on.
on the change of insurance.
insurance be updated.
I'll make the motion.
Second,
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
I'll be there.
You going?
What are they auctioning off?
Whatever's there.
Rick doesn't care. He just loves auction.
But I mean, is it
The
the,
farmhouse and there's equipment.
Tombstone.
so it's
There's
everything
so
from
much-
that?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's
Go to
so much
sleep,
on there, they
Get
can't
one
move it to
room.
their store. That's why they're doing it on premise.
Is that their Anderson, like on top?
Are you asking a question?
Or at least they got Scotty's potties coming.
No,
nice.
what if I send you that?
60 by 100.
Sarah's
Yeah, that's a big tent.
All right. All right, okay.
That's a big tent.
Number 9, accept the letter of resignation from Chief McDowell effective June 25th, 2022. Any discussion?
I'll make the motion with regret.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
The way he turned that police department around, over 9.5 years is just unbelievably remarkable. And he did it on a part-time basis.
Yeah.
So
Can't
I'll
get any
second
better
on
than
that.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
And his
Same
retirement
sentiment.
party is when?
Monday, the 23rd.
Ah,
I didn't know.
Plus-
yeah, I didn't know that.
What is it, 27?
Monday
We're
the
just getting
20th.
it together now.
Okay.
There's nothing.
Monday, the 20th.
Monday, the 20th.
You'll send us.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's invite only, so if some of you don't get it, I don't want to know anything about it.
You know where it is?
It's at Lance's.
I think we should move the venue.
They got a great price, believe me when I tell you.
They're not moving it anywhere.
Party around.
Okay, boom.
Unless Joe
Number
changes
10.
his mind.
The appointment of James Post as a part-time police chief at a salary of $35,000 effective June 26, 2022. We have a memorandum here.
Yep.
Not from Jim.
Nope.
No,
No.
we don't have a memorandum. It's a civil.
Any discussion?
appointment.
I'll make a motion that we appoint him for discussion purposes.
I'll second it.
I'll second for discussion purposes. So the only question I have is he on the list?
He
Yes.
is. We reached him.
You did?
Yep.
Check that out.
Yep.
Okay,
He's on the list. We reached him. He,
good. Okay, so,
You know, a couple of years ago, we were having thefts in cars at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. That was going on for a month or so. And Jim went to this meeting of officers, and he was a senior investigator, whatever the state police. He gave him what to do and how to track the telephones. One day later, they got the guy.
yeah,
So he knows what he's doing.
yeah, he's well qualified.
The other thing is when we hired him as an part-time officer, we had 2 or 3 people that called me and said, he is really a nice man, thorough, cooperative, etc. So He's a good guy.
Okay.
So motion to, I'm sorry.
You got the
Phil?
motion. I
Yeah, but what
made
was it again? I was like,
Second, to hire him as our police chief.
you did, huh?
Bill
Okay, no, I
made the
said some
motion, Doug
discussionary
made the motion,
purposes.
Oh, yeah, discussion, yeah.
For this- no.
Second?
I made the motion, it was seconded.
Yeah.
For discussion, we had a discussion,
Right.
now we vote.
Right.
Correct.
We need a roll call? On this?
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
Okay. I moved the
Bill?
motion to vote. Aye.
George?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Rick?
Aye.
Doug?
Aye.
All right, simple one. Schedule a joint public hearing with the planning board and zoning board on June 21st, 2022 at 7:30 PM for the Owens Road Solar. Just trying to make it easier for the applicant to have one meeting with all of us. We have to fight for these seats up here that night. I'm not sure who
You
take
don't
precedent.
Well, I think
Board.
CBA gets put in the
No,
back.
planning board gets,
Yeah, they're the.
They get the
control.
dais?
Yeah.
they get the
Okay.
dais,
Sit right
we
over
sit
there.
over
We're on
there,
the wall over there.
and
All
the
right.
ZBA is in the hallway.
So do we need a
We are
motion?
down
to-
a chair, by the way.
Do we get name
So to
tags?
Answer your questions, we have enough chairs.
So we get our name tags out, unless you want to put it on your head like that. All right, do we actually need a motion for this? or
We
we
need a
just-
motion, yes, I do.
So
I
can
need
I have a motion to
to
schedule a public
schedule a
hearing?
public hearing.
I'll make a motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Wait
Aye.
a second, I wanted to discuss.
Okay.
one item.
Discussion? I have-
Yeah, right.
Okay, on the first page there, there's talking about the background. And I guess it can't be answered tonight, but I was just a little bit concerned about it. Apparently, this parcel was originally going to be houses.
Yeah.
And it says, we recommend you discuss with Attorney Kelly Norton the effects of the 2010 stipulation and 2011 conditional approval have on this current application, and in quotes, if any. I assume
You can do it at the public
it's
hearing.
kind of a moot point.
No,
No, but that's
you
the
can
point you
ask
bring up at
that
the
at the
public hearing,
public hearing.
Kelly.
Yeah.
It's all about-
Mhm.
All in favor?
Aye.
So I have a motion to approve the minutes of the May 26, 2022 town board meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Public comment now or after the
Do the finance.
finance? Okay, all right. Review and approve year-to-date budget transfers requested by the budget officer dated June 9th, 2022.
So moved.
Second,
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Discuss and approve a motion to authorize the supervisor to pay accounts payable check run on June 9th in the amount of $115,470.83.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Discuss and approve a motion to authorize the supervisor to pay workers' comp claims in the amount of $1,892.43. Motion,
So moved.
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, open it up to,
Okay, so one other thing, I don't think, I'm just going back now to our discussion that we had during the work session. Do we have to formally approve the purchase of that dump truck?
No,
No,
it could be done by executive. What's the price is 280.
yeah, no, we have to form, I think we have to
So it was up
formally
for
approve. it.
discussion, it was up for vote
So,
on the work
yeah.
session.
Well, we did that, didn't we?
No.
No, we didn't have a vote.
We did,
Oh,
we did not.
okay.
It was only for discussion purposes
That's
during the
right.
work session. We were gonna hold
Okay.
off voting during work session.
Yep, I apologize, gotta go back to that.
So, you want me to make
Good
a
catch,
motion?
George.
Yeah, does anybody want to discuss it or anything?
Well, I'll make the motion, then we can discuss. it.
Okay, make a motion?
If I get a second.
I'll
So,
second it for discussion.
the motion is to purchase a 8 cubic yard dump truck and combination sander body with a plow and a wing in the amount of $218,850. And that would be based on a state bid.
Good.
Perfect.
Correct. Or county bid or. what-
State, it's a state
State
bid.
bid, right.
Yeah.
I do have a question.
Whoops.
Is this an international harvester like all the other trucks?
I don't know, but we can find that out and ask that question. I believe it's the same place that we got the last truck.
Just so we have this parts.
Yep, I think so.
So we did have a second. I just had one discussion item for the public that's left. And that is, the reason why we're doing this with 2023 is we don't expect to get this truck until December of 2023.
Possibly
So
2024.
Everything's
correct.
backlogged.
Yep.
So that's what we're doing now.
I'll move the motion.
Second,
No, just move the motion to vote.
Yeah, because I made the motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I second it for discussion, and then once you're done with discussion, you move-
Public comment. Go.
Come on, public.
The only thing I'd like to say that I want to really commend the board for how this project is, and I know about Solution. You're representing the library. It's the right thing to do, and it's being done in the right way, very businesslike, and I think, I really hope that the community fully appreciates what you guys have done.
I'd like to kind of add on what Phil Canarino, a couple of years ago, took charge of this. And he drove this horse home. And so we really behold him on this board as doing the work.
It was a group effort.
Yeah.
He used to be 6'9".
Yeah,
and he's
you
kind
were-
of beat him in the crowd.
You took-
Well, we thank you for putting in the time, for sure.
Yeah.
Anything else, Bill?
Thank
Nope.
you.
All right, can I get a motion to close the meeting?
I got an
What?
item.
I'm sorry.
No. I attended the Boy Scout Troop 63
Ah, yeah.
Eagle Court of Honor June 4th. And they had 3 young men there, Alexander Canal, Daniel Hartley, and Samuel Leineck. This puts them over 100 Eagle Scouts in that particular troop since they started. And 4% of all scouts achieve Eagle Scout. And what makes it so really, really nice is they say, on my honor, I will do my best for God and country. And I mentioned in this, my little talk to them, there are 2 scouts that I know. One is Kyle Roddy. And just look where he's gone. You know, he's principal now, he's this and this. And the other one was General Dempsey, who graduated from Burke High
Burke.
School.
Yeah,
And he was not only head of the Army,
the Joint Chief.
but he was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of
Yeah.
Staff. And when he had the job, there were 2.5 million people. And so he's 1 in 2.5 million, not 1 in a million. And I went to the graduation of Burke where he did his thing. I could see how it happened. One of the things he did.
Could I? I'm sorry, you're done, Doug?
No. One of the things he did is all the students was sitting in the front. He says, all right, when I give you the order, the count of 3, I want you to stand up. 1, 2, 3, stand up. And then do an about face. When I give the order, I want you to say this to your parents. Mom and Dad, I love you and thank you for all you've done for me in my lifetime. Well, it was a dry-eyed place. I could see how he got to what he was. Thank you.
Yeah. Just a couple of items that I wrote down here just to keep us on task. I think maybe this might be for you, Lori. Anything, we're working on the potential change for the B&B? That's still in the
Part of
works?
it. The letters have gone out.
Who did they go to? The Airbnb?
Well, Barry, you're better equipped to answer that than me. Maybe,
Um,
well, Neil would be the best.
Neil, yeah, the building department
Yeah,
did
okay.
send
So-
out some violation letters.
The last we left off on it, there was another property raised or brought up is where the due diligence lies. And that's something that this board, maybe in the next work session, we can figure out what our notice means, right? When we become aware of something, is it someone just sending in something where we obligated to go seek out the Airbnbs? Joe and I are still working as to how to handle corporate Airbnb. But right now, the ones that are popping up that we're aware of, we have a form letter that goes to them, and then it will go to Attorney Rometta, who would handles code violations. So if Neil feels that our letter has reached them and they have not ceased operations, then it would go to Attorney Rometta to prosecute the code violations. He's a special prosecutor for that. as to changing anything in the Airbnb provisions. My recollection, I'd have to go back to look at my notes, but was that without them going through the permit process, our provisions are hold the line as is.
Yeah.
I
So,
think that's what was said. Yeah.
right, I just want to make sure that the way you asked it, I was trying to process the way you asked it was as if we were adding language or I was, but as far as I understand, the code holds the line right now. There's a process.
Yeah.
And absent that, unless we decide that we want to somehow, make that a little more lax to allow Airbnbs, which would require us to eliminate the residency requirement or primary residence requirement, because Airbnb, the whole idea of it is that you're not there as opposed to the traditional B&B. That's I would say the big delineation between the two. So unless we are going to relax that, then the Airbnb discussion is essentially tabled, other than how to handle corporate. That's the really remaining piece, at least in my court.
Yeah.
Unless I just
So,
haven't.
yeah, so an example, the place up on Lakeview, I think it was.
Right, that was the original one
Place on Lakeview,
that
right.
prompted that.
That particular place, the owner was not on the premises, so therefore.
Well,
they're-
we do not believe him to be
Right.
on the premise.
They're in
We're
violation.
essentially, sorry, George, go ahead.
They're in violation.
If we operate under the facts that were presented to us, which was that the owner is not there, or at least it's not his primary residence, and he is vacant. I mean, we get into a little gray area with it's his primary residence, and he goes away for the weekend, and he rents his place out. He still doesn't satisfy the permit process, right? So there's a two-part component, primary residence and either permit or site plan, depending on what zone you're in. Either way, you would have to come before the planning board for authorization.
Right.
So before you can go to the planning board, it's got to be your primary residence, and then you got to have a secondary
We just
part.
need to follow the code, that's it.
Right, but I guess
Letter
to
of the
answer,
law, yeah.
George's question, the
Yeah.
primary residence component, you could say, we don't even necessarily need to know that because we know there's no permit attached to that property.
Mhm.
The additional gray area is enforcement of how to show that they, absent the advertisement, that they actually did this, and it wasn't just having guests over.
Mhm.
But we have the ability to create, the burden can fall on them. This is what we believe to have occurred. Tell us this is why it didn't occur.
Right.
And, if they just don't answer us and then it keeps popping up, then they're gonna be brought in and
Yes.
prosecuted on a code violation. And, the point of the letter, not just the notice provision, it is also a component to seek reimbursement on legal fees. If
Yeah.
myself and Attorney Rometta are chewing up the town's budget,
Yeah.
chasing these people, then they might have to pay for it.
Just follow the code.
So follow the code. I mean,
That's
it's
all. Follow the code.
it's relatively clear, to be honest.
It's
It's
clear.
two main provisions, primary residence and permit.
So since we have a resident that is on that, on
Right.
that street, has there been any significant change in that place up there?
The only change, George, is that they've been a bit more careful about the garbage barrels. And there's somebody that's bringing them off the street, just up on the curb. But other than that,
Still a lot of cars in the driveway.
Fewer, the West Point graduation was a huge amount, but fewer cars, I would say no more than 6 at a time.
So there's a mechanism that's in play. We'll see how that particular property is the first run. The form letter went out. There's a follow-up to that, which is essentially in Neil's hands.
Yeah.
And it leaves my hands. It leaves my hands because I don't do the prosecution of code violations. So the letter was drafted and created by me. Going forward, it's going to be between Neil and Attorney Rometta, which I certainly have no problem communicating with Attorney Rometta rather than bringing him here and at least updating the
sure.
board.
And the letter also to Airbnb went out or was
Well, that's,
drafted?
we're, it's a little tricky with that, Joe. It's not as simple as sending a letter to Airbnb. So I do have to talk to you offline about that.
Okay.
I have,
All right, we'll
it's
talk
just
offline.
it's not as simple as sending a cease and desist to a citizen out in the.
Okay, the second thing was that issue with Maplewood and Park, whether it be parklands or whether it be conservation easement. So I called Sorensen.
Yeah.
But I wasn't able to speak to him.
Okay, so we was gonna be on the work session tonight. We pushed it to the next session because the attorney for the applicant is gonna be here.
The
And,
PE will be here, the
PE?
engineer and the applicant will be here. I spoke with, I'll just, do you want me to jump in?
Yeah,
Or-
yeah,
I'm
and-
sorry, I
Yeah,
did
yeah,
jump in
yeah,
and then
no,
asked you if you wanted me to.
Yeah.
Attorney Gilchrist, who's their attorney up in Albany, I spoke with him at length yesterday. It was, they wanted to be here. They asked to be moved 2 weeks out. Engineer will be here. Applicant will be here. They'll be able to articulate the position. It's still encouraged that if you can get a hold of Sorensen.
He will be here.
Okay, he's gonna, all right, I did not know that part.
He will
So-
be here. Yep.
Because he seems to, he presents it in a manner that both handles the legal end of things and the lay end of things, and it becomes a little more palatable when you hear it from him.
He stressed to me that he wrote the entire layout of that. Kate did not write it. So he did all the research himself as the commissioner.
Yeah.
And he will be here to articulate why he believes that the property should be taken over by the town as.
And
parklands
the planning board concurred with the opinion. Am I mistaken in saying that? or was
The planning board agreed with his concept, agreed
And
with his
told him to
idea
come back
and
here.
held it over to come back to the town board.
So that
That's why
doesn't
we
mean,
are.
they have a different lens that they're looking through, but it certainly speaks to something that, another dais that's in this town representing the citizens with an attorney thought one way about it. But we'll hear about it. We'll hear about it.
But if they have a rationale for changing what we've been doing to what they want us to do, then we need to listen to it.
Yeah.
So we'll hear in 2 weeks.
But
We'll
if it's
hear- we'll hear
arbitrary,
three of
then
Okay.
Just two other quick things.
Yeah,
Look, from our last meeting, you said parkland fees we have to have a local law and a public hearing.
that's a yes and no. As set right now, the fees, we don't need a new local law for that. What the local law would be necessary for is to amend what the parkland fees apply to. Right now, there's a void there for a multifamily developer.
Multiple tax lot.
So that part needs the
One
local
tax,
law.
one section, block and lot number.
Before, and Joe and I are trying to, if we're gonna go through all the trouble doing this local law, I wanna make sure that we encompass what that means, and we're kind of going back and forth on the definitions. We wanna get it done before these properties, come in, so it doesn't look like it's arbitrary or directed at them. So it's just a matter of settling on the language, which will be presented to you guys hopefully before the next meeting, but that does require a local law and then a public hearing.
Right. And last but not least, the MS4 final report was due on June 1st. So did that go out? Or don't we
Yes.
know? It is. It went
That
out.
was filed. Yep, Joe
Right.
signed it and Sean filed it.
I just want to say something. I was moved and honored to attend a ceremony at Stewart Airport. One of our residents, Lieutenant Colonel Andrew Townsend, unbeknownst to me and probably everybody in the world, was the co-pilot of the C-105 that did the evacuation and infusion into Kabul of the SEAL team and their helicopter, which helped pull over 150 people out of there. They came in under heavy fire, under darkness, complete darkness. They were wearing night vision and they had to land on a field in Kabul. They were caught in the air because they had ground control telling them when they could land. They had to get refueled in the air. They made it in, they made it out, they took fire on their wing. They landed back in Poland, I believe it was, and they had a successful first tour. They were all awarded, the entire crew, along with Lieutenant Colonel Andrew Townsend, was awarded the highest medal of honor the U.S. Air Force gives out, the Flying Medal of Honor. Then they were asked and requested to fly I'm going to get tears on this one. I apologize. They were asked and requested to fly the 13 soldiers that lost their lives back to the United States. It was truly moving. It brings tears to my eyes now. I apologize for that, but it was who's who of who was there. It was very moving. A 4-star general and on the Joint Chiefs of Staff gave all the awards out. A lot of dignitaries, a lot of military, but it was truly amazing. Not what I expected when they sent me the invitation to go. But my congratulations to Lieutenant Colonel.
Wow, very good.
Amazing. That's
All right, can I have a motion to close the meeting?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Mary going offline?
What?
Let's go
Joe.
Rangers.
Executive session, I was waiting in the office, okay? I spotted this.
Okay.
Unless you
Yep.
want me to